Yo, what is good, y'all? Welcome into Cardinalytics, an Arizona Cardinals podcast hosted by fans for the fans here on a football Friday. Nice in October, Friday the 13th. So it's time to get spooky this week, obviously, with the Arizona Cardinals heading to LA. We obviously missed earlier in the week. Let me start off by saying you can follow me here on Twitter or on YouTube. You can subscribe to the page, as I say. You can follow me on Twitter at Corey_Cards here with my co-host Rashad. You can go ahead and follow him as well. Go ahead.
What's going on, y'all? Yeah, y'all can follow me on Twitter or X at big_shot11. It's right there.
Yeah, also missing our brother Jake. He will be joining us as soon as he has some time too, because I know he has some thoughts about last game as well as this forward game, as well as we do. So let's get right into it. Obviously, Cardinals coming off of the loss versus the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe that we all predicted a win here on the Cardinalytics podcast, and maybe we were drinking a little bit of the juice, but we had an opportunity. It was there until it wasn't. Cardinals coming off of the L. Another game where they lose 34-20, I believe. This one, it was a close 34-20 to me, but at the same time, you kind of felt the separation happen in that end of the third to all the way throughout the fourth quarter. Obviously, Bengals took off. The Bengals have been coming in as a slumping team, and they obviously kind of had somewhat of a get-right game this week. It's hard to say so much of that because they were missing T. Higgins, so offensively it was kind of spam Jamar Chase. Let's just run it, to be honest. And and I'm being real, we kind of just target Jamar Chase when we pass the ball, give it to Joe Mixon to keep the balance there while we're still in the game, because we can give it to him because we're still in the game. We're not losing by a lot or we're not winning by a lot. So I had the opportunity to let him have 25 carries for 81 yards. Joe Burrow, which is not good at all. And that's the crazy part about it. And so they actually have some things to work on with them in terms of their run game. But for Joe Burrow, 36 for 46, 317 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. He was sacked 3 times, but he also had a passer rating of 108 and a QBR of 65. So not a bad day for Joe Burrow at all. I thought overall he looked as mobile as he's looked in the past however many weeks. Like, the Cardinals were getting some type of pressure, and he would still have the ability to escape and maybe throw it to a check down or just keep a play alive here or there. Jamar Chase, obviously the guy, the man of the hour. I'm always open, 7-Eleven. And he literally was always open. 19 targets, 15 catches, 192 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Trent Irwin also contributed with 8 catches and 60 yards. So the Cincinnati passing game was obviously on full display, and it started with Jamar Chase. We'll get into defense and some of our players that we've had out there in the cornerbacks position. A lot of thoughts had to be said about them, but neither here nor there. Defensively for the Bengals, Jermaine Pratt finished the day with 10 tackles, and I think he also had an interception, if I'm not wrong. And then either he had an interception or he almost had one. And then Logan Wilson had 9 tackles as well as almost an interception. Josh Dobbs, 15 of 32, 166 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 57.6 passer rating, 9.4 QBR. Sheesh, 9.4 QBR is crazy.
Yeah,
and only completing 15 of your passes is also a little worrisome. And this is what I mentioned to our group chat when we were talking throughout the game, is that the Dobbs flood, with that interception that he threw, would it be the flutter to come? And it's crazy because the first interception technically was a good read for him when the play is broken down and you realize that Zach Pascal is probably in the wrong spot. But at the same time, you kind of saw the flood happen in terms of he started to force things. He started to play outside of his character. He started to try to make up for his mistake. And that's where I was worried about him so far, as we've seen so good of him. What happens if he's really bad? And we saw him be really bad on Sunday, and it resulted to the Cardinals offensively doing very little in the second half. James Conner, obviously, we'll get into him as well. 6 carries for 46 yards. He had the big run, but on the big run, obviously, he got chopped up or whatever it was on his knee, and he twisted it, and now he's on the IR. Just that's great, obviously, right? It's expected, but if he just runs out of bounds instead of trying to get another 3 yards,
2 yards, 2 yards,
he'd be healthy enough. DeMercado took his place, obviously, scored a touchdown. We'll get into the DeMercado versus Ingram conundrum going on. Rondale Moore had his long little rush, but still kind of doing nothing. but being a motion guy and being a fly guy. So definitely interesting to see for him. Hollywood had 4 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown on 10 targets. So their connection has to get there a little bit more. They kind of have to get back to finding each other in an intermediate game instead of just trying to hit over top. Mike Wilson, we'll get into this. 1 catch, 18 yards on 2 targets. Wasn't targeted until the fourth quarter. This can't happen. I think we all know that can't happen. I think the team knows that they have a special player, and I think they understand that they have to get him the ball. Defensively, Marco Wilson is a corner. He had 11 tackles. Kayvon Wallace is a safety. He had 10 tackles. Antonio Hamilton is a corner. He had 8 tackles. We'll get into defense. Obviously, you don't want to see that. Those guys leading the tackles kind of speaks how the game went, where the ball was going. But obviously, I think let's just get straight into the offensive side of the ball for us, the Arizona Cardinals. Not
Yeah.
much, not much. It started off pretty well, I would say. I mean, they kind of went down to that hole, 10-0 hole. But offensively, they still stayed into the game. They still stayed poignant, I believe. And then Josh Dobbs had a good touchdown drive that I think Hollywood Brown resulted in the one to go up 10-7, I believe.
Yeah.
That was the correct start. So,
Mhm.
I mean, it started off really well, but like I mentioned about
Mhm.
the Josh flood or the Josh Dobbs flood is like we saw the interception happen at the end of the first half when we had a chance to just we all mentioned it in our group chat is that like I don't understand why we didn't just kind of just
Run the
salt that
ball.
quarter away or whatever the case may be, but you know he threw the interception and it kind of resulted in him going backwards the rest of the game. Offensively, that was my biggest thing that I took away. What about you? What'd you take away offensively and just the overall offense and anything else that we have to talk about?
Yeah, the first half, like, I mean, they got off to a slow start again. But like, I don't know about you, but I still feel confident in the offense that they can kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
move the ball. Even when even when they came out with the slow start, I still felt confident that they could move the ball. Because I mean, it's not like the Bengals defense was anything to write home about. And it was like it did feel like when they got down and like when Dobbs threw that pick six,
Mm-hmm.
um, it felt like, there's expectations to win this game. And so the second half, he was kind of trying to play a little like hero ball, maybe holding onto the ball a little bit too long. Um, to make a play. And that's one thing that we haven't really seen him play. Like he's played loose every game up until now. And I think a lot of that's because like, the expectations is like we're going into the game and there are no expectations. But then you play this
Mm-hmm.
Bengals team where they're struggling, they're coming into to your stadium, like, you kind of expect to win the game. So I think a lot of that like built up in the second half, especially for Dobbs, and we saw Dobbs struggle a lot. That pick six in the first half, I mean, it was unfortunate, but like I guess they wanted to, instead of just running the ball, because I think the Bengals had 3 timeouts. So like, if you just run the ball and you punt it back to them, then the quarter's not over. So like you still need a first down. And how the Bengals were moving the ball, like they were definitely going to end up with a field goal, but they
Mm-hmm.
probably could have got another touchdown. Because they
Mm-hmm.
did come down to the one and we stopped them 2 times,
Yeah.
third down and fourth down on the one. So outside of that, yeah, James Conner getting hurt, like that was a huge blow. And I mean, for a second, there was a chance that we thought he might be able to go back in the game because he came back out with his helmet and was sitting on the bench, going over film or whatever, talking to the other running backs. But
Mm-hmm.
he ended up being out, so that was a big blow. And I mean, we're gonna get into DeMercado, but like, I just don't think he's it. Like, he doesn't really give us anything else outside of like if he has good blocking, then yeah, he can, what I'm saying, he can get some yards, but like creativity in the run game, breaking tackles in the backfield, kind of turning negative plays into positive plays, like I don't see it in him. So that
Yeah.
was a big blow losing Connor. And I mean Marquise, he still looked pretty consistent. I think he had a drop in the first quarter, like the first drive of the game. And I think he had a drop at the end of the game, but it didn't really matter. But Marquise is still looking to be like 1A, that alpha receiver on this team. I say 1A because Mike Wilson does need to get involved more. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how you go from 7 catches, 7 targets to and 2 touchdowns to to what, 2 targets, but 1 catch. Like I think it was just 1 catch in the fourth quarter or something like that. Which you saw like on the catch that he had, like if you just throw it up to him, he can go make a play. So they definitely need to try to get him involved more. But I mean, offensively, like I think things just spiral out of control in the second half when Dobbs had to play hero ball.
Yeah, and I can't agree with you more about that. Like, I just it's the backup. Like, it's the reason he's a backup, I should say, is the reason why like he has been proven to be a backup is like sometimes certain, not even just the physicals, but like the and the ability to bounce back off a thrown interception and the ability to bounce back after making a mistake instead of trying to reforce, re-push the issue instead of, just, or I can just hand it off. I can just take a couple checkdowns because I think that was the biggest thing I noticed was like he tried to force a lot of passes into areas where if you just took the check down, if you took the tight end route that you've been taking, like the drives would have either continued on or you wouldn't have made that mistake and you wouldn't have made that turnover. And like we mentioned about this offense can be good, but at the same time, it is dependent on them not killing themselves. It's
Right.
dependent on them not hurting themselves because of the lack of talent at the QB position and or anywhere else that anybody may feel deficient on this offense. And now, especially with no
Yeah.
James Conner, you'll have to find a way to supplement that ability to take time off the clock, chew up the clock. Because if DeMercado can't get those tough yards, if Ingram can't get those tough yards and convert some of those second or third and third and fours into first downs, and that becomes a 4th-and-1 situation, like you start having to think about, is this a good idea to punt it? Is this a good idea to do this? And so like I said, now you'll have to figure out ways to supplement that and figure out areas to keep that, sustain that, because that was the best part of this team was the ability to run the ball and be successful and have that type of physical ground game. And now you don't have the back to complement. So now what do you do? Because
I mean,
DeMercado, he's
you gotta rely
good.
on the offensive line. And
Yeah,
I do want to give props. I do want to give props to them, to the offense, because they did, after that first touchdown drive out, I think out the second half. Didn't they have like a 99-yard drive, like the longest drive? Um
that was the 49ers game when they had that 99-yard
oh,
drive.
that was in the 40. Okay, okay, okay. All right. Well,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm
They
mixing
was,
things. But I know
when
they
we was on
did.
the one this time, I was gonna say
Yeah.
when we was on the one this time, is Pick City.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. But no, they did respond. They did respond after that drive, that big play,
hmm
out of
hmm
the first half, and they did score again. So like, it's not like they just like laid down. You know what I'm saying? Like
hmm
you saw, like when they could play ahead of schedule, they can still move the ball, and I'm confident. Like it's crazy to say, like even with Dobbs, like I'm confident in the offense as long as we're not playing against like a crazy defense like the Niners or something. Like I'm confident that they can move the
hmm
ball as long as they stay ahead of schedule. And like you were about to say, how are we going to get that run game going losing James Conner? I mean, it's going to be an offensive line. Like if they're
hmm
getting 2 yards of push every time, like I mean, anybody can go back there and pick up 4 or 5 yards each run.
Yeah, we also need a better performance from DJ as well if we're gonna make that happen because
Yeah. Oh yeah, DJ.
we're gonna be able to run to the left
Yeah.
side, and the DJ just has he kind of got worked a little bit last week, and
Yeah.
I know he's big vet, I know he's like the guy, but when somebody mentioned this, like somebody doesn't want to harp on DJ too much, and I told him I was like no way, like harp on this guy, like he's making X amount of dollars on the team, like at any entity that pays you money, the biggest people get the most people that get paid the most. Get the
Mhm.
most responsibility for stuff, and when things go bad, he needs to be a part of the reason why they went bad, and which he was a part of the reason that he went bad because Trey Hendrickson was
Yeah.
literally, I mean, killing him. Like he was defeating him on most 9 times out of 10 every block. So like you don't create time for your quarterback who already is a deficiency. It's not Kyler Murray back there. He's not going to be able to constantly escape. So you have to be able to hold a stronger pocket. And he did that somewhat against some of these other opponents, but this week it was not good, and we need better from him. So overall, he hasn't been great. I don't think he's a guy that I would love to have back. I mean, I would love to have him back at a certain number, but at the
Mhm.
number he's getting, not really. And if you tell me I can get another guy for 4 years, that's check. In a draft
5 years.
class, that's very in a draft class that's very tackle friendly at the top, which is where we may be at. Like, yeah, I'll move off of you and I'll take the 2 bookend tackles for the next 4 or 5 years, and we'll see what happens at that point. But anything else for offense? You have maybe a player of the game or so. Like, I didn't. I mean, I don't know. I I guess Hollywood maybe. Maybe
Yeah, I
it's the
mean,
player of the game.
Yeah,
But
Hollywood played good. Oh, another thing that was surprising too, like I guess last thing, Trey McBride had less snaps than I think Swain and Ertz, and I don't know why that was because I think McBride is well, I don't want to say clearly, but I think he's our best pass catching weapon. Like Ertz is good, don't get me wrong, but like Ertz has
mm,
he's been slow coming back from that ACL injury.
yeah,
Um, and he didn't play as much, which I don't understand that, especially when we were down. Like I don't know why he didn't play as much. So that was kind of interesting.
I don't know. Just Swain must just have an effect on Drew. I guess I don't know. Maybe I
Uh,
really don't. Maybe he rubs his head. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you like why like Jeff Swain is playing over Trey McBride. Like I don't know why Zach Ertz is playing over Trey McBride. It may take a trade, may take a trade line move to get Trey
Mhm.
McBride on the field because at this point, like we can only take what we get from practice, and
Yeah.
what people tell us from practice is that he looks like a monster and that he goes out there on Sundays and you know doesn't play. So like I don't know if it's a intelligence thing. I don't know if it's just a preference in terms of what Drew Pesky might want, but the only way that it seems like he'll get on the field this year is outside barring an injury, like is a trade deadline move, getting Zach Ertz out of here because I think a lot of fans want him out of here. I mean, I do. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a
I
good
mean,
guy, but
I'd like the money. I still love Zach Ertz, but I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
more,
yeah,
but
yeah. Go Ertz, soccer and stuff. But nah, like on like for real though, like uh, if he were to go, that is how I would think Trey McBride would end up getting his
hmm
chance, and uh, it's just another casualty of kind, another.
Hey, the Brock Bowers talk has been loud too. I don't know if you've heard that.
I have,
The Brock
I
Bowers.
have, I have.
I don't know how I feel about
I
that, but but
At
we
the end
could
of the
move on.
day, the dude like a monster. You give me
Yeah,
a weapon, he's a weapon. It doesn't matter which. I don't think it's a Kyle Pitts situation. Kyle Pitts can't get the ball because he doesn't have good quarterback play.
yeah,
I think in either way, if we do end up with a Brock Bowers, like we'll have a good quarterback with him in either fashion of it. So he becomes a weapon that in an offense that is predicated on the tight end at certain points. Like, yeah, I don't give a shit about the tight end shit. I don't give a damn about anything when it comes to the Kyle Pitts. Like, you don't take a tight end early. That guy's a weapon. He's not a tight end. He's a weapon. He's a clear weapon, and you just
hmm
about being used right. And I think I'd rather take the offensive weapon outside the defensive weapon. I know we did that a lot with Steve Kahn, but give me the offensive weapon because those guys make the plays. Those guys change games, and we
yeah,
noticed it all the time with with Jamar Chase on the Bengals, how much he changed their offense in terms of what they were able to do. So, uh,
yeah.
give me Brock. Yeah, I'm on the Brock train. I'm on a lot of the guy. I'm on a lot of the players' trains. It's all
Hey, we
in
got
the
two
draft.
picks. Like you know, what I'm
That's what I'm
saying like
saying. So
we got
I'm
two
on a
picks.
lot. I do feel like Seattle. There's like this draft when it comes to oh damn, we could get JSN, we could get this guy, maybe Jalen Carter falls to
Yeah,
us,
yeah,
maybe this guy can fall to us, and hey, I need it all. I don't care who falls to us. I think Monty's good enough to find the right guys that we need, and outside of them, doing the impossible, in at least what we think, and getting a quarterback, like you're filling at least two positions where you need players at, and so.
yeah,
We'll get into draft talk obviously soon, but yeah,
yeah.
I'm sipping all those players that we got at the top right now. Defensively, switching over there on that side of the ball. Uh, I, we talked about this off air. So like obviously some to me something has to be going on with Marco Wilson, right? I just personally think something just has to be going on with Marco Wilson because like a lot of people talked about the off coverage that Gannon and Rollins played in this game, and like that's fine and stuff like that. I think they're obviously doing that to protect some guys. Like again, we know I don't know why Hamilton to start off with that. I don't know why Hamilton played over Clark to start at least. I don't know why. Cleacho Clark just said, his coaches asked him to do that, and that's what he's going to do. So I
Yeah,
really
that
don't
didn't make no
understand
sense. That made
why
no
that
sense.
happened.
Yeah,
Um, eh, I'm not here to judge Kitro. He's been a stand up player for us. He's played with high character, high emotion, high intensity all since he's been drafted as a Cardinal. So I'm not gonna like claim that he did anything or whatever the case may be. But it was a weird situation to start, and like I can understand those two players, Kitro Clark, Antonio Hamilton, playing off coverage. One, Antonio Hamilton's a 9-year veteran, and he may not move as fast as other players. So I understand that. Kitro Clark's a rookie. You don't want to give him much. So I understand that. Marco Wilson, right? To me, he has to be hurt, right? Because there's no way that a guy who has a 4.3 40 time, 43 and a half inch vertical, one of the star combine players that we've seen in the past couple years in terms of his measurables and how he tests. There's no way that he's not athletic enough to be able to play some type of bump and run coverage. Even if you're doing it, like, even if it's not man to man, even if it's a bailout zone, there's no way that you're telling me that he has to line up 7, 8 yards off of guys when he already doesn't tackle. He already doesn't tackle. So you line him up 7, 8 yards off the ball where he has to tackle. Like, to me, that it's making no sense. And like, I just, he's becoming a player that, again, it seems to be like we're literally going to call him casualties of time for the next however many years
I
until
like that.
it's only Monty's players that are
True.
like the ones that have been drafted and or they've added free agents, like him, like Marco Wilson, Lucky Fotu. Some of the outside linebackers are actually playing better than what they've given. So I will not, bash on those guys. But really, Marco Wilson and Lucky Fotu, those are two guys that kind of were able to stick around in this new regime and were able to, hold a spot in their place. And maybe that was because they couldn't grab anybody. Maybe that was because they actually liked them. But like, these are two players that your spot is not guaranteed at all next year, and you're still playing like dog shit. Like, I
Yeah.
don't. It's really not making any sense to me. Marco Wilson, you go out there and you dust the reporters after the game. Come on, bro.
Yeah, that was
That's
I didn't get that
phony.
either. Like, you gotta face the music, you know?
It's just phony. Like, and like I say, like, to me, you can play like, if they love quarters coverage and whatever that cover two and whatever zone coverage they like. Because
Mhm.
I think I did see something like a graph where the Cardinals are like one of the highest zone playing teams in the NFL, and that makes
Yeah.
sense. I guess Gannon and Rollins know their personnel. They understand who they have on their roster, and they understand that where man-to-man coverage may not shouldn't be used to help to hide the deficiencies of the guys that they have. But to
Mhm.
me, you can still play that quarters. You can still play that press, the whatever it is, the covers two, whatever they want to play. They get the cover three, cover six, whatever their coverages is. You can still play that with having a guy pressed, at least a threat of one guy pressed. Because at the end of the day, they will just do what the Bengals did. Like, and this is why I expect Cup and Puka before not to overshadow, but I really expect these guys to have the craziest games ever, especially if we play off coverage. Like, because Matthew Stafford will literally throw them 2 yard hitches, and they will get 10 yards off of them because we can't tackle on the outside. Like,
Yeah.
I that is going to be a sight for sore eyes on Sunday if they don't philosophy, I should say, to change themselves and at least challenge these guys. Let's test these guys. Let's test to see if they can get off the line clean. Let's test to see if we can jam them up at the line, slow them down a little bit. Because again, the Rams' offensive line hasn't been the greatest. They've been beat by that Bengals. They've been beat by that Bengals D line, and we kind of held up in a little in a certain aspects against that D line in certain spots. And I think we got after Joe Burrow a little bit as well. So like I I mean, I don't know, bro. I'm really
Yeah.
like
Like,
I'm
I
lost on the
think
Gannon and Rollins stuff. I'm lost.
I mean, I think, Gannon's whole thing is like, he doesn't want to give up a lot of like big plays. And obviously the quickest way to give up a big play is like, man coverage, you get beat or blown coverage or something like that. So obviously we see a lot of zone and like, we're working with like a patchwork group of guys where, you have some guys that maybe Monty brought in like Kaiser. Like that's a premium dude right there. Kaiser. Kayvon's kind of showing that he might be that. But then, like you said, you have the Kime casualties, which I like that. I'm gonna start using that. Where there's really nothing that you can do about it. You got to work with what you got. And Marco, I mean, Marco's biggest thing, his entire career, even dating back to college, was just like mentally, like what I'm saying, like
Mm-hmm.
is he mentally good to play the cornerback position? Because he has the physical traits, but like, can he see the game? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, I mean, that's where he's getting beat at because like it's not like dudes are like he might allow a catch, but he's gonna come down and he's gonna miss the tackle, and it's like you're right there next to him, just make the tackle.
Right.
Um, so I don't know, man. Like,
He just disappointed me, bro. I just
no, no, Marco is definitely like Marco is. I
we
mean,
don't ask
honestly,
you to be a lockdown. I don't think anybody asked him to be a single lockdown corner at one time. I think we all we asked for him is to be a guy that we can rely on the outside. And then you get a guy added on to you like Garrett Williams, who we think can be a lockdown type of guy. Like,
man, Garrett
then
definitely has like and that's a good thing, right? Like you got a guy like Garrett coming back who you drafted in the third round. And
Mhm.
like obviously, since he's a rookie, that's the biggest thing. He has an unknown to him.
Mhm.
So it's like, all right, you got a clean slate. We
Mhm.
seen what Marco done did for the past like what 5 weeks, the first 5 weeks of the season. Whenever Garrett's ready, I mean, if it's me, I'm throwing him out there and I'm seeing what he can do. I got no ties with Marco. Like it's not like
Right.
I drafted Marco. I got no ties with him. So he can
Yep.
go to the bench. Like
Yep.
if he gonna
And
keep
if he
playing
want
how
to cry about it, he can.
yeah, if he
He can
if he
he
gonna
can
keep
throw
playing
he
how
can throw a fit on and cry about it.
yeah.
Get dressed in
So
some whatever he like to dress in his weird ass. Look, I just all right. I definitely do agree with you though. As soon as Garrett Williams goes out there, I want him to be shipped right out because I do think he has the ability to play a little bit how Gannon and Rollins want to play more. I think they want to play more press type coverage. I think they do want to challenge receivers on the outside, and he has the profile to be able to do that in his ability to play man to man coverage, which is one of his biggest things from college. So I yeah. Obviously, we're in the cornerback market this offseason, but I
yeah.
I'm just really disappointed in Marco Wilson. It's either they're hiding something from us or he's just regressing, and he's regressing to a replacement level special teamer, and like that's
And
like
my thing is like, like I wouldn't even say he's regressing because I remember when Marco was a rookie, like everybody, like all the fans were high on him. But like,
mhm,
I don't know. I kind of watched him and I was like, okay, well, he didn't necessarily have the greatest rookie season. Like,
right.
I think it was just because he was a rookie. It's like, okay, well, he's gonna grow from here. But like he's been the same guy ever since he's walked in the door. He's been the same guy. He hasn't gotten any
Mhm,
better.
right.
So I don't know, man. It's tough right now because we don't have anybody else, or we didn't have anybody else. Now we got Garrett coming back, and so we'll
Mhm.
see what he can do. But like, I mean, right now, obviously, I don't expect him to be on the team next year.
Yeah, obviously something else will happen in this Bengals game. Jalen Thompson exits the game with a
Oh yeah,
hamstring injury. So now you're down to literally Shashier, some dude named Blunt. I forgot his name. I forgot his first name. And then who else was back there? Kayvon Wallace.
yeah,
Um, I'm hoping to see uh the dude they grabbed out the 49ers, Contras Knight, or whatever his name is. However, his crazy name, that's crazy as first name. Whenever he whenever he is ready or whatever the case may be, like when they bring him out to practice squad, I would like to see him play. I think um he had a quote. I think he said a quote to one of the reporters about like tell Cardinal Nation I'm coming or something like that. Tell him to get ready. Like I like
mhm,
you feel me. I like saying that. So like I obviously you're down now two starting safeties. I think it's time that you have to just try things out, and that's a player that you should try out because I think
yeah. No, he's
he has the
definitely gonna
ability to
play.
do that.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna play this week. I mean,
Yes.
he
So this week is a challenge in the passing game. So I need and we need as much safety depth as we can because we have to try things out. Because especially if Shashier widens out on his coverage again and lets Jamar Chase run straight in front of him, like then I mean we'll be dealing with stuff like that over and over again. And
yeah,
give me a change of scenery over watching things happen. I think that's a lot of what we saw with Kime and Vance Joseph with the some of the veteran players they had in there, and they would just let them uh you know play until their life set and nah, I think we want to see the different players or try something else. Like well, I'll
mm,
die with trying something else. I always do that. So but Jalen Thompson, I don't know if he'll be an IR candidate. Obviously, you hope not. I think if he was an IR candidate, they would have placed him there already. So he would
hmm
have been started to miss his games and not just keep him out for a game. But are you kind of worried about the defensive secondary now with Jalen Thompson being out
I
and
mean,
you already don't have Buddha?
like I'm not necessarily worried about it because like it was always like they're always going to give up yards and I noticed that from the Giants game like
Mm-hmm.
that second half of the Giants game when they just play like that shell coverage and then even against the Cowboys they couldn't cover nobody then like they're gonna give up plays like that's just it is what it is and it's gonna be tough this week with Cup and Puka.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna boil down to if we can fluke around and get some extra possessions with some turnovers. But I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm worried because like I guess I expect them to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, but nah, nothing when it comes to safety play, nothing can ever be it was a dude we had on the team a couple years. I think it's Curtis Riley. That was the worst dude I've ever seen play football.
Oh,
I think
oh, that's
we
the dude. That was the dude that we had. the one game Buddha he like finally missed a game, and it was like against the Panthers or
Yeah,
something
it
like
was
that.
against the Panthers. I was at that game. I was at that game. I've
Shit.
never seen a worse player on the team on defense. Like that was
Bro,
so bad, bro.
he was
Like
selling the fuck out of us that day. Oh
he
my god, I
was.
remember that game now. Like Jesus Christ,
So nothing
McCaffrey.
can ever be that bad. Nothing can ever
Yeah,
be that bad.
yeah. So, obviously this is a makeup week for the defense. You have a much more on, I would say, on paper challenge this week than you did against the Bengals. Obviously, you have a Jamar Chase, you have a Joe Burrow, you have a Mixon, but right now you're facing a team that has won a Super Bowl in the past 3 years or so. Oh yeah, won a Super Bowl in the past 2 years. Excuse me, won a Super
Yeah,
Bowl won a Super Bowl 2 years ago with this type of with this quarterback, with this wide receiver, and with this coach. And now they obviously have another weapon in Puka Nacua, along with the running game, Kyron Williams and Ronnie Rivers. So they definitely have guys on that offensive end. So I'm excited to see the challenge that the defensive side kind of presents this week in terms of halftime adjustments. I think that to me that was a big thing for JG and staff in those first couple of games was halftime adjustments. And I think those weren't so much there in this past game. So to me, I want to see them get back to that. I want to see them get back to slowing teams down in the second half and just creating a game atmosphere that favors the Cardinals. It's not going to be. We obviously don't want it to be, a high scoring game with them because we think, at least I think that if that comes to be the case, then we may be put on, some type of illegal internet site. But at the same time, I do think that this team has the ability to slow down their offense just in just a certain amount of bit to force Stafford to hold on to the ball for a second. I feel like that has been the catalyst to slowing them down this year is when you force Stafford to hold on to the ball for just another tick because he's not mobile this year. He is banged up
yeah,
already. Like you can get a
yeah,
couple hits on him, and I think that's always been the recipe against Stafford is you got to hit him, you got to force him, you got to bang him up a little bit. If you let him continuously quick throw you all game, it'll be a bad.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like I said, I'm very worrisome of Cooper Cup and Puka Nacua. I very much so think that both receivers have over 150 yards receiving. Uh, I hope not. I hope I'm wrong, but I do think that will happen just because of either the way we play defense or the ability of our corners. And like they will give up yards and they will give up yards after the catch because they can't tackle. So like it'll be interesting, man. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about defensively going into this game against the Rams and kind of what they present as an offense?
Um, honestly, like I mean, I kind of agree with you, but I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of their offense revolves around they put Cup in the slot a lot. So like I mean, he's gonna cook there. Puka on the outside. Um, I don't know. Depending on where he's at, I feel like if he's on the right side with Keytrail, like it shouldn't be as bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they're gonna get off. Like they're gonna get off, and I just feel like we gotta figure out how we can get to exactly what you said. We gotta figure out how we can get to Stafford, force him to make some turnovers. Surprisingly, like against the Bengals, um, the run defense wasn't that bad. Like, I mean, obviously they just kept passing the ball to Chase.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know about you, but I noticed like early on in the game, like Joe Mixon wasn't getting nothing going on. Like, I mean, that was the whole reason why he had 25 carries and he still only averaged 3 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he didn't get majority of that until when they was like grinding out the clock.
All right.
So I think our run defense could be. I think they'll be all right against Kyron because I mean Kyron doesn't really scare me. He's not like a home run threat. So like
Mm-hmm.
I think they should be all right, but it's just really stopping that quick passing game because it seems like every team that we play against, when they go into quick pass mode, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do
I,
about it.
I agree with you in that running aspect. I don't know if you. I mean, this is what I remember from the Rams. Is I remember them absolutely being able to torture us on the ground every time we played them under Vance Joseph.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. I
I'm,
mean, but that's
I'm
just Vance.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's Vance. So like
Yeah.
that's somewhat of what I'm thinking about, and I'm just thinking about that in terms of the talent. But obviously, I am hopeful that they are able to slow down the run a little bit more because that's what I always know of Sean McVay to beat the Cardinals of is like we're gonna run these ISO runs, we're gonna run these trap runs, we're gonna have you sunk in until we able to hit you with those motion over plays and have the tight end come out the flat, and I'm throwing to the tight end and we give him easy yards, and then we have a bootleg overplay where I have Cooper Cup going across the middle, and then I have the deep shot to you. So it's
Mhm.
just like But
Well, you
progressively watching him kill us was like an annoyance. So I am interested to see if, like you said, the run defense shows up again this week and is able to slow down Kyrie, because I do think I don't know if I saw that stat where it was like uh McVay, whenever he calls, like whenever his running backs have like 21 plus touches, they win the game most of the time. But if they have around like 16 to 20 or less or something like that, like they start to lose the game, and that's because I guess they're putting Matthew Stafford in constant passing situations. So
mhm.
definitely should be interesting this week when it comes to that.
Yeah, and it's a good thing too, not like, when we had Cliff, right? Like the run game was shotgun run the entire time, right? So like when you're
Hmm.
practicing, like that's all you're practicing against.
Hmm.
Now like every day in practice, they're going against, these traditional like zone runs and power run schemes. So it's like
That's true.
it's they're practicing more against it. So you would think that they play better against it in the game.
Hmm.
And they
Yeah,
have.
that's a
I
good
think they
point.
have this year.
Yeah. I think they have played the run well too. So, real quick, I did not even get a chance to mention the preview for the teams, but the Rams, real quick, do come in the game 2-3. Their last game was a loss at home versus the Eagles, 23-14. In the game, but they were in, but the Eagles just had been doing the thing where they kind of get a little bit lead, and then it seems like the mid third quarter hits, they just start to like salt the clock away when it comes to running and tush pushing and doing stuff like that. So they did lose a close game against the Eagles, 23-14. Offensively, their rankings, they come in for total offense, they come in at eighth. Overall, that is encompassed in their passing game, because they do come in fifth in passing in NFL. They do only come in 21st in rushing though. So again, we mentioned Kyron Williams in their run game. If we're able to slow them down, we should have some success. Scoring, they come in at 15th at 22.4 points per game. Defensively for the Rams, total defense, they've been 15th. So just about an average defense. Scoring wise, they've also been 16th. They have 8 sacks on the season, as well as they only have 3 total turnovers for. So it has been a defense much more so like an average level defense. Some games they've been okay. Some games they've given up some stuff. So it'll be interesting to see, like I said, what this Cardinals, the offense is able to do against their defense, who, like I mentioned, it seems to be somewhat of an average group. So just about what you faced last week with the Bengals, which was somewhat of an average group. So offensively for the Cardinals, though, coming in, they are, excuse me, one real quick, they are 1-4 coming into this game. Their last game was a loss at home, as we mentioned, versus Cincinnati. Offensively, they come in still total, and they're 15th in offense total, so just about halfway mark. Didn't dip too much, and then when it comes to that passing, they are almost at the bottom of the league though in passing, 29th overall in passing. Rushing, they are sixth. Like we mentioned with James Conner's injury, though, what's interesting to see if that ends up dipping in the production for the running game. We hope not. We hope a guy like DeMarcado or Ingram can fulfill those roles. But if it does, then that'll be a big crutch to this team offensively. So to see how they adjust in terms of that. And scoring, they ended up in 19th at 21.6. Defensively, the woes have been major. The woes have been there. Defensively, they're 26th in total defense this year, 27th in scoring defense. So they seem to be giving up a lot of points. They are still top for fifth in sacks though at 15, and they do have 6 total turnovers, which is +1 on the turnover differential. So like we mentioned, when they play well and they force turnovers and they don't turn the ball over and they get sacks, that's how their defense operates. When they have to sit there and defend every blade of grass and stop the run consistently and stop the pass consistently,
Getting
is when
cooked.
they start to get chewed up a little bit. So it'll be a massive test. Switching over for us offensively, any keys that you have for this next game against the Rams, and what they had to do to have some success, like against this Rams defense, who we know has lost Jalen Ramsey, but has not really
Yeah,
felt the effects of that. If you ask me, I don't think they felt the effects of not having a cornerback like him anymore, because I think they have guys out there like I think his name is Kobe Durant, or I forgot the other guy that they have out there. The real number one, I believe his name
Kendrick.
Kendrick. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
those two guys have filled in very well for them, and their cornerback play has still been there. Obviously, you have a guy like Aaron Donald. No premier pass rusher outside of him, but I do think they work good as a unit. Obviously, they lost a guy like Bobby Wagner as well, who went back to Seattle. So a lot of guys with not heavy names, but again,
yeah.
a middle of the pack defense, and it's spearheaded by the guy 99. So what do you think offensively for the keys to this game to obviously combat Aaron Donald and what he's done to this franchise for the last
Yeah.
however so many years, and just what this offense can do for the
Yeah,
game?
I think obviously that's number 1 because he's gonna he can wreck a game plan, like, the game will
Hmm.
be over if you just can't contain him, so, I mean,
Mhm.
I think that's number one. You got to figure out a way to slow him down, because you can't stop him.
Mhm.
But outside of that, like you kind of mentioned, like they don't really have that many like high profile names on their defense. They got some guys that are like playing well, making the names for themselves, but like it's nothing where like I don't think that we can't move the ball. Again, like I said, when we played the Bengals, like there was never a moment where I felt like we could, if we played how we play football and play and run the ball and stay ahead of the sticks, play action passes, stuff like that. Like
Mhm.
there's never a moment where I didn't feel like, okay, we could go down here and score. And I kind of feel the same way against the Rams. Like, I mean, I expect Hollywood to continue doing his thing, probably like 6 catches, 80 yards, maybe a touchdown.
Mhm.
If they get Michael Wilson involved even more this game, that's going to be good. Maybe we
Mhm.
see more in the backfield.
True.
But
Yeah.
I was gonna say honestly, like I think that they're gonna be okay on offense, and as long as they can just slow down Aaron Donald, I
Mhm.
think they should be good. I think they should be able to put up points against them.
That'll be interesting if we see some more of those Rondell Moore because I think he had the one like regular running back carry, like it was just a normal like whatever type
Yeah,
of
yeah, it's a
run
regular
scheme
carry.
that
Yep,
was.
yep.
I don't know. I don't remember if that was from shotgun or single back,
It was
but
from shotgun. Yeah.
okay. So it'll be
Mhm.
interesting if they use him kind of like a Ty Montgomery, like I remember him, or kind of like not so much how Randall Kyle was used. He's still much more used as a receiver than he is as a running back. But like I said, like a Ty like Ty Montgomery who was a converted wide receiver to running back, and just obviously with that whole the running back position, you need a playmaker there. And if he can't get the ball passing, then try to give him the ball running it. Like I don't know what we can
Yeah.
do to make this man get at least 8 touches a game, but like
He
something,
needs them,
yeah,
honestly. He
something.
needs them because right now,
Hmm.
like, he's probably the second most, like, electric weapon on offense right now. I mean, honest you might as well say he might be the first with the ball in his hands, especially
Hmm.
with Connor out, you know what I'm saying? Like, he might be the best playmaker with the ball in his hands right now on the offense.
Hmm. But you know what he really is? He's a calm
That's
casualty very soon.
oh, cock.
He's a calm casualty very
Yeah,
soon. Because
yeah,
if
I
he's
think
not going to touch the ball, he's not going to be here. I
yeah.
don't really. There's no point in saying that. Like, he's not going to touch the ball. He's not going to be here.
Yeah, and just to touch on that too, like, I saw a lot of people talking about, like, trading for CD,
Hmm.
which was not CD, trading for Jerry Judy, which
Hmm.
is two totally different things. But the one the one thing that I wanted to mention was we run a lot of like we don't run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. We run a lot of like 2 wide receiver, 2 tight end sets. And you're
Hmm.
right, like if Rondell's not touching the ball, like that third wide receiver spot isn't really that important. Like it's
Right. Yep.
important, but like he could easily be out the door too.
Yep.
Like, and don't let him get hurt. I hope he don't get hurt. He's doing good right now with like the injuries, knock on wood. But
This has
like
to be the longest he's played in a string
no,
of
I
games.
know.
It
Yeah.
has to be.
Yeah.
I don't remember him playing as many games ever to start a
Yeah. No,
season without being hurt.
it'll be like 4 games and then something happen and then he'll come back and
Hmm.
there'll be another 4 games.
Yep.
But damn, we ain't even actually, we ain't even talk about Greg Dortch. Has Greg Dortch even caught a pass this season?
No. And
Yeah.
it's
So I
massively
mean, like,
confusing. You paid him $20 million to be a punt returner.
yeah. So
I'm really lost. I'm lost on these things, and I'm lost on them to the point where it's like, why did you do it if he's not gonna get the football? Like, why did you? And again, Michael Wilson's emergence could be a factor of it, but Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch was never an outside guy, so like,
yeah.
it doesn't never really matter to me. I just at some point it's like you paid a guy to be a locker room guy, and that's why people are talking about. Like I see a lot of fans talk about, oh, we might trade Buddha. Like clearly they're playing certain guys to be locker room guys. Like and
Mhm.
Buddha Baker plays much more on the field, but at the same time, like they didn't want to lose him for the locker room. Just like it seems like they don't want to lose Greg Dortch for the locker room. Like because if you're
Yeah.
just yeah, I'm to me, I'm not paying him what we paid him and what we offered him to be a punt returner. Like at the end of the day, it's literally all he is.
I don't know how much we pay him. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I don't think it was that much. I think he might have got
I don't think it was 20 million either. I think I was thinking of another number, but at the end of the
yeah,
day, he got some type of offer from us, and that like
yeah.
I mean, getting
Oh,
that to be a
he's just on a 1 year deal. He's just on a 1 year deal for a
okay,
mil. So
okay.
yeah,
So he got
that
that
ain't
10-year offer. He got the 10-year offer, and he likely will be out the door next year because like
uh,
I don't know. I just didn't really understand. I understood keeping him. I don't understand why his unusage so far, and I,
Yeah.
it'll take an injury. I guess the wide receiver room hasn't been too banged up for him to see the field, which is what it to see the field last year, even in his good year. So I think maybe that might be the cause of it, but still, like just questions, just that we won't get until the end of the season to see who lasts around, who sticks around. So, uh, get into the game predictions for this week. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts about this game and if you think the Cardinals can win this week. Um, I'm on the side of no, and I'm on the side of no just because of that passing game. Literally, that's my one deficiency. I am agree with you though. I do think that we'll have a chance to score. I do think Josh Dobbs will bounce back from what he did. I don't think this will be the biggest test for me for him to see if he has the ability to bounce back from his poor performance. But if he, I do think he will be able to. And so now
Mhm.
I'm just worried about the defense, and I'm worried about the defense giving up another 34, 35 points, and offense only being able to get to about 25, and that'd be the reason that you lose. But like I said, interested to hear what your thoughts about this game and your prediction for the game, your score prediction.
Yeah, first off, I wish Jake was up here because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to hear where he stands out on the team, if he's down or up.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
We'll definitely have our guy on. He'll definitely be able to
yeah.
speak his thoughts about the last two games if he misses this one today.
But nah, I'm still optimistic, man. Like, I think we're gonna win this game.
Okay.
We start off with 0-2, then we won one, then we lost two again. Um,
1-1.
I like I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant to say this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we're like, obviously people thought that we are gonna be like a bad team. I don't think that we're a bad
Mm-hmm.
team, right?
I
Like,
don't think
and
so either.
bad teams let like situations like last week and stuff just spiral.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the case. I think this is a very winnable game. I think that going to SoFi Stadium, like, there's not going to be a huge home field advantage for the Rams,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that this is a good opportunity for us to see our first 30-point performance of the
Okay.
season. So no, I think we can get it done. Did you ask for a score prediction?
You can give it if you want to. If you don't feel comfortable with that, you don't have to as well.
Uh, yeah, I'm trying to think because I they probably got the Rams as like what 4-point favorites, 3-point favorites. I think we'll win the game
I
by.
don't even know. I haven't even looked at the spread yet for it.
Yeah,
Let me take a look right now.
I think we'll win by at least 3 points. But and I think we'll get over 30. So I'll say like 35, 31.
35, 31. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna give up a
Um,
lot of points.
I'm
We're
not
gonna give up a lot of
obviously
points.
I don't think I'm there. I do think let me see where we at. I do think, that I do think they'll be able to be in the game, right? Don't get me wrong. I do think they will be in the game. I do think they have a chance to uh have the chance to come off the what's it called? Like have the chance to take the lead and whatever the case may be. But
Yeah.
the Rams are a 6 point favorite over the Cardinals. So
Sheesh.
they get the home three. I would say they get the home three. So neutral field, they're a 3 point favorite, which I guess that sounds about right. So uh, I mean, it's an interesting game. Like I said, for me, it's hard for me to get past the fact that what happened to us in a game where we only had to focus on one receiver and he still beat us up. So when you have to focus on two receivers, really three, because Tutu Atwell has been good too for them. Like
Yeah, Tutu is gonna be that's gonna be a big
Tutu
one.
Tutu literally made them trade, or Puka and Tutu made them trade Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
So like it's just hard for me to get past how much this defense could give up in terms of passing yards. And again, like maybe we see a scheme change from Morales this week, which I would love. I would love to see more of a physicality scheme change and just pressing these guys and giving up on them. But if they don't do that and they're playing consistently backed off coverages, whether it be whatever zone they're in, like it's gonna be a long day because Matthew Stafford picks apart zones. It's when you force his players to beat man coverage is when he has to consistently make the tight window throws, and and they can sometimes be um, batted down or deflected or tipped or whatever the case may be. But when you give him that clean pocket to be able to hit zone targets that end up getting open because McVay can see your defense from the sidelines and to know what to call, like it's
Mhm.
very worrisome for me. So me, I have it like I said, I have it more so 34-25 Rams. I
Okay.
I just I think their defense is more respectable than what a lot of people give them. Like I said, on the offense, on the outside, like those corners. Like I said, they've been playing well, and then Aaron Donald seems to always take our lunch. Like so, I can't say he won't take our lunch. I've only seen him not take our lunch one game, and that was the 2021 Week 4. That's
Mhm.
the only time I've never seen him really beat us, get ahead of us. Like so,
Now
he'll be.
look, the Rams have our number. Like
Mhm,
I'm not gonna front up here and say that they don't. Like they've had our number in the past couple of years, but
mhm,
I'm hoping with with the new regime, JG, Nick Rallis, Pet Singh, like
mhm.
we can rewrite that because it's not like we're playing against one of the better Rams teams. Like
Yeah,
this
that's
Rams
very
team,
true.
a lot of people had next to us going into the season, as in they might have a top 5 pick.
Mhm,
Um,
very true.
so
And
we'll see.
they're one game. We beat them. They're one game closer to that because they'd have the same record as us at 2-4. So
Yeah.
it's definitely like it's a game that could be had for the Cardinals. I'm just worried some of the players that they don't have on their defense, and can the offense have a chance to continuously kick going? And if they're in passing down situations consistently, then you got 99 teeing off on you, and it's never a good mix. But I'm hopeful with you. Like like we always mention, like I'm cheering for the team in red or the team in white on Sunday every time. So until our guys, whatever the case may be, I'm cheering for us. But I just that's just my thought process when it comes to this. But neither here nor there. Like I said, we'll get Jake's response. We'll get Jake's feelings about either both the Bengals game and the Rams game coming up, as well as his thoughts on a couple other things. I know he's always a pretty up and down when it comes to team morale. So we'll see how
Yeah.
he's feeling about that. But anything else you got to say to people before we head out?
Yeah. I got one more thing
Mhm,
for all y'all fantasy people out there that picked up Imari DiMercado.
mhm,
Keontae is gonna be the starter today or this week. This week he's gonna be the starter.
yeah,
Um, Keontae, he's been the primary backup. Imari, like we talked about it, like Imari just doesn't look like he got the juice.
yeah,
And Keontae's been a primary backup, and they like what he has. And as soon as he's healthy, which he's healthy now, like I think he's gonna get every crack at filling in that James Conner role, which we can honestly, we might see him play like all 3 downs, depending
yeah,
on depending on where we are like on the field. So
yeah. Yeah, I got told you off air. DeMercado kind of has like a weird head shape. Like it's no disrespect to him, but he just has like a weird head shape to the point where it's like I don't even know. Like he sometimes doesn't look like a football player. So like I really hope, like I do hope, I'm with you that Keontae Ingram is the one getting the bulk of the carries. I'm ready to
yeah,
see him. I think he's performed well when he's had opportunities, and he just has to get a couple of those lanes free. Like I feel like like we mentioned, every time he gets that lane, it's always clogged up. But whenever he's running the
yeah,
ball, somebody's getting blown up in the backfield. So I'm excited to see when he's able to work with multiple carries, if he's able to have a good, good showing. And he's listed as running back 1 on the depth chart. So I don't understand why anybody is still trying to start DeMercado. They're telling y'all
yeah,
they're about to put in Ingram. Like, so it'll
yeah.
be, if they do it, it's just a mind fuck thing. But I do think Ingram, who's, like I said, he was the number 2
And then you just
the
watch
entire
him
time.
play. You just watch him play when he had the ball in space. Like he just looks way
Hmm.
more electric. Like,
Hmm. Yeah,
like
DeMercado. Yeah, congratulations on your touchdown, son. I don't know how many more coming for you, but like I said, congratulations. Um, and yeah, I'm excited for this game. I'm just ready to get to some football. Obviously, coming off an L is tough, but when you have an opportunity to do it the next Sunday, it makes it all worth it. So we will see y'all for the recap, I should say, of the Rams game,
yeah,
as well as anything else that happens. Hopefully, we get some news on Monday about one of those guys coming off of pup. I'm really hoping that it comes, very
I hope
soon.
so too.
Obviously,
I hope
so
so too.
because we just want to see the guy. We want to see him get a chance to practice, get a chance to perform with the guys that they put out there, especially behind the offensive line, which we think is one of the better ones that Kyler Murray will have ever played with. So definitely excited to see that, and hopefully we get that news after a win on Sunday. So for all my viewers, appreciate you tuning in, and we catch y'all next week, man.
All right, y'all. Peace.